So thank you for reciting the three fundamental paths to enlightenment. And end of the text they say, my son, right? Because this one of the Tsongkhapa disciple, his name was Tsakopa Lawantapa. After he studied, finished, so he went to Kham, I think maybe southern part of Tibet. Then he requested to Tsongkhapa, so please give me a teaching how to practice full of the Buddha Dharma as a Lamrim. So that's why this is written by Tsongkhapa, special for the Tsakopa Lawantapa, and they say my son. So he was one of the very important disciples of Tsongkhapa. So each time when His Holiness give this teaching, he said that moment Tsongkhapa told him, my son. Right now we everybody try to be son of Tsongkhapa. Everybody try to be son of Buddha. Okay. Or we say son of Buddha. So do you know why we name Bodhisattvas, all the Bodhisattvas we name son of Buddha? Son of Buddha. Do you know the meaning? Son. Generally, the parent, gave a birth for the child. That's why the parent is the cause. Very important factors for the child. So the parents, produce or made a child or children. This is a son and parents, mom and son. And Buddha, Buddha here referred to two meanings. One, look at all the Buddhas always wish all sentient beings be, very nice, be a very good person. When the sentient beings, any of us, act very nicely, be good person, be compassionate person, then Buddha consider, they are my son, they really follow after me. Another meaning of son of Buddha, the wisdom of Buddhas is like mom. All the Bodhisattvas, become a Buddha because of due to the wisdom of Buddha. Not only that, the wisdom, when someone fully able to develop wisdom, then we call he or she is Arya. So the Prajaparamita is look like a mom. This way goes son. Okay, so this is kind of, extra kind of information, extra talk. And today we don't have many students here. Anyway, the last time we talked about the 7 limbs, or somebody translated 7 branches. So after you visualize all the merit field, then you have to practice the 7 branches or 7 limbs. 7 limbs include mandala offering. So within the 7 limbs or 7 branches, so they are included into 3 practice. Also all the 7 practice we can include into 3 practice. Practice of purification, like purification, and practice of accumulation of merit, and practice of multiply or develop merit furthermore. So we talk about 7. Within the 7, 5.5, let's say 5, include into practice of accumulation merit. For example, the first one, prostration, offering. Then third one, prostration, offering.
Mandala.
No, mandala is not separate. First one, prostration. Second, homage, homage, offering. Confession is a practice of purification. By requesting, twin will of Dharma, not take into nirvana, right? So 5, a half. So rejoicing we can divide into 2. Rejoicing your own merit, rejoicing on, on your own practice, or rejoicing other practice, other person practice, or rejoicing other merit. So rejoicing we can divide into 2 practice. So when you have a pure rejoicing your own merit, which is accumulated in the previous life or also accumulated this life, it can be included into multiplying merit. If you have pure rejoicing, other good deeds, other practice, it include into accumulation merit. So how? Then the prostration is included into practice of purification, purify your negative karma. Then one is included into not only accumulating merit, also including into increase your merit, which is you rejoicing your own merit, rejoicing your own deed. That means all the 7 practices include into 3 practices. Practice of purification of your negative karma, practice of accumulating merit, and practice of increase your own merit. So we talk the 7 include into 3 practices.
So confession is purification.
Yeah, confession is purification. Particularly, confession is particularly included into the purifying your negative karma, purification. So within the practice of 7, it includes all the practices. Yes. Then last we talk about dedication. Whenever you accumulate merit, right away you just dedicate your merit. Shouldn't keep in your mind still. If you, for example, this morning you offered candlelight, incense, or did some prostration or did some recited chanting. So in the afternoon, if you get very strong angry, strong anger, the anger can destroy it, all the good deeds. So dedication is very important. So when you dedicate your merit, your good action, you look like you just dedicate, for benefiting all sentient beings, or you dedicate for, achieving enlightenment for benefit all sentient beings. It look like, you have a cup of water. The cup of water, if you pour, mix in the ocean, the water remains until finished portions. So it's so important to, dedicate. So that's why, dedication is one of the very important practice. Not, waste your good deeds or good actions. Then also we talk about, rejoicing. So there's 2 different ways you can rejoice. So your own merit on other. When you have a rejoicing on your own merit, there's 2 parts. You can have a pure rejoicing for your merit, which is you accumulate in the previous lives. On the previous life, you cannot remember, you cannot see it, but you need to use some logics or some reasoning to understand. You accumulate, really lot of good merit in the previous lives, because due to the good, previous life merit or karma, you have a really good life. You have a good life, you have a good environment, you have a good food and good clothes, good friends, good family. All of this happened by the merit, the karma, the action, which is you accumulate in the previous life. And you can rejoice your previous life's merit. And also not only that, sometimes you can see, even though in generally you have a good life, very comfortable life, sometimes you can see, a lot of difficulties. You are very happy in last year, and you have some problems, and this year. At that moment, you should remember, yes, I have I had a good time in the last year, but this year I have a lot of difficulties, a lot of problems, a lot of suffering, physically or mentally. All the suffering is happened due to the negative karma which is accumulated in the previous life. Also, you can have a sense of regret about the bad karma which is accumulated in the previous life. So when you have a pure rejoicing, other merit, other good deeds, so there is a three difference. For example, in general, you consider someone is higher than you, or you can consider someone is lower than you. Sometimes you can consider they are same as me. All people, or you can divide into three groups. The people who are higher than you, even if you have a pure rejoicing, their good deeds, you're going to accumulate, half merit. For example, they accumulate, 100 times, you're going to accumulate 50 times, who are higher than you. The person who are equal with you, if you have a rejoicing, the people who are equal to you, if they accumulate, 50 times of merit, also you're going to accumulate 50 times. Same number, same amounts. If you have a pure rejoicing, the people who are considered lower than you, also, you can accumulate, double. That's so rejoicing is very important. So now I'm going to talk very little bit about how anger, can destroy the negative, positive karma. There's let's say two different ways. The person who are, higher practitioner, practitioner higher than you, if you make a lot of disturb to the higher person, the higher being, then you're going to, destroy your own merit for, I think, 100 eon, kalpa and the person, the being who are in the practice level, who are lower than you, if you make a disturb to the lower people, you let them get angry. Also, you're going to, I think higher, I think 1,000 eon. The lower, I think 100 eons. So Chandrakirti set, it is very important. So we always be very careful when you talk with the people, when you have a kind of meet someone, please try to behave very nicely. So we never know who are, really higher being, who are Buddhas, who are Bodhisattvas, we really don't know. So we always have to be very careful with meeting people, talk with someone, so otherwise we never know who is the, high practitioner, who is the Bodhisattva, who is the Buddha. That's why Buddha Shakyamuni says in the Sutra, so you always be very careful. We never know who is the, holy being. The holy beings remains like a, underground, like a fire, and outside they put some kind of, grass or dust. If you just walk through the grass, you're going to fall in the fire, and then going to go to fire. So for me, I'm just explaining to you, try to explain Dharma, but I really don't know, among the you, who are, Bodhisattvas, who are Buddhas, who are higher being. I have to be very careful. So recently, His Holiness, in the Labab teaching, the descent day of the Buddha, so the people offer long life puja to His Holiness. And His Holiness talk about three things. One, he talk about his own experience about the struggle of Tibet cause. Second, he talk about, how he became kind of retired, why he become retired. Third, he talk about the, Shugden or Toyal. His Holiness says, when the some Tibetan people does, kind of protest. Yeah, protest. His Holiness says, I never have any sense of angry or them. I always feel so sorry. I always feel really, sorry, feel really bad. Because they accumulate a lot of negative karma, rely on me. He said, I'm not, kind of manifestation of our Lokadeshwara. But every day I practice bodhicitta and emptiness. Every day. Whenever I recite a mantra to chanting, any kind of sadhana, I always practice bodhicitta and emptiness. Due to that, I am kind of practitioner of bodhicitta or practitioner of emptiness. So the people who criticize him, people who make angry him, so they're going to accumulate immense of negative karma. Some we always be very, very careful with the anybody's. So if you have made angry the people who are higher in practice level, then you're going to destroy the merit you accumulate for, I think, I think 1,000 eon. Then the people who are lower in practice, you're going to destroy the 100 eons merit. So that's why Chandrakirti said in the text, anger is is one of the bad negative kind of bad minds. It can destroy everything. Okay, that's why last class we talked about rejoicing, dedication. Then kind of I ask you kind of homework, kind of true. So first you have to explain me what are the result of practicing 7 limbs.
Sorry, Geshe, your question is, what are the karmic traces of each of the 7 limb practice?
Yeah, the result, right? The result.
Yes.
Yeah. So that means, so when you practice 7 limb, each 7 limb has a different result, right? Then the 7 limb can be antidotes of any negative thoughts. Here you going to reminds you again. The practice which you going to do anytime, always try to be, antidote of one of the negative thoughts. All your practice must be antidotes of any of the negative thoughts. For example, the offering practice can be antidote of stingy. When you offer something, you try to offer as much as you can. If you can't, you just imagine offering so many things. Okay, so please explain. So first you can start. True. So what are the 7? How they can be, how they can produce different result. Result.
Antidote.
Yeah, you can first result. And
Result means the traces. The traces.
Yeah, traces.
Okay, so the limb of prostration is the traces is goes toward the crown protrusion.
Yeah.
And the offering these traces that will enable one to achieve wealth of the space treasures.
So the treasures.
Okay. Confession these traces to achieve complete abandonment of the 2 types of obscuration,
Yeah.
which is emotional obscuration and cognitive obscuration.
Okay. So emotion, obscurity, and what's second?
Cognitive.
Or cognitive obscuration. So usually all the negative thoughts, okay, afflicted, all the negative minds and mental factor, we must include into 2. One is emotional
and cognitive.
cognitive, pneumobuddhipa, yeah, pneumobuddhipa because it's translated from Tibetan. Afflicted emotions, we can say afflicted emotion, okay? All the afflicted emotion is the kind of obstacle of liberation. So in order to achieve just only liberation, so you have to, clean, you have to eliminate all the negative minds and mental factor. The second one is the obscuration, right? Cognitive obscuration, shijitipa, cognitive. So even though, okay, someone achieve liberation, they are fully liberated from negative minds and mental factors. Even though they cannot see, they cannot explain the subtlety of all phenomena. Okay, subtlety of phenomena. Even though, many arhats, you can explain so many things. If they ask you what happened, millions or millions years ago, what will happen after 100 or 200,000 millions years after. So all the Arya who just achieve nirvana, they cannot explain. They have a obstacle. Okay, obstacle. So even though they eliminate, all the negative thoughts, all the negative minds and mental field, even though they cannot tell because they have a still the obscuration. Okay, so the confusion can be antidote of 2 types of obscurations. Okay, could you please explain next one? Iran. The page number
200.
200.
and the sentence number,
Second paragraph.
second paragraph, the rejoicing. Yeah. Yeah, just so you can read the rejoicing,
Second paragraph, third sentence in the beginning.
third sentence.
Yes.
Yeah, you just read.
Here is the textbook.
Yeah.
The textbook are not clear on this, but according to Pabongka Rinpoche oral tradition.
I think you have a page number
Page number 200. He's on the right paragraph, but a few
for the
lines.
sentence. Yeah.
This rejoicing, right?
Yeah.
Rejoicing against jealousy, the request to turn the wheel of Dharma as
Sonam, I think you showed the wrong sentence.
Sixth paragraph.
Rejoicing,
Traces.
Traces.
Rejoicing.
It's the last
Charismatic
last
body. Charismatic body.
Yeah, pragmatic.
Actually, it's
Last
fifth line from the
Jesus
bottom.
of the
Yeah.
petition
Fifth line from the
Oh, next one, petition, then
The petition not.
next one.
to enter Nirvana to enable one to achieve the Raja body of age.
I think before this, it is a rejoicing.
fifth line, 5 lines from the bottom.
Yeah.
Rejoicing a charismatic body
Oh, there's rejoicing, then prismatic bodies, right?
is
So what does the meaning? So we study about 7 limbs, right? 7 limbs. Within the 7 limbs, there is a practice of rejoicing. If you have a really sense of pure rejoicing about your own merit or on your good deeds, or rejoicing for other deeds, you're going to have a good result. The result what?
request to turn the wheel of Dharma.
Okay, so that's good. So next one, okay, can you explain what is the result of the requesting true will of Dharma?
The Brahman voice of a Buddha.
Yeah, Brahman voice of the Buddha. If you have, if you request to, your own masters or other master to be true of the Dharma, will of Dharma, so you the result going to have the voice of the Brahmas or Buddhas. So according, historically, we don't know much about the Brahma. So he has a very beautiful voice, very clear, very soft. And the people who stay far away, they can also hear his voice very clearly. The people who live next to her, him, also they can hear the voice is very smooth and very beautiful. Otherwise, when I speak very loudly, you can hear very strongly. Other people cannot hear too much. So that's why the Brahma's voice is so beautiful, so soft, and it doesn't matter the people stay far from him, they also can hear very clearly. The people who stay next to him, they also can hear very softly, very clearly, not lot of kind of noisy. The next one, Wenjit.
Traces from the petition not to enter Nirvana will enable one to achieve the Vajra body or knowledge about how to prolong life.
Yeah. So if you have a request, if you request to the holy being, not take into Nirvana, not pass away, so you're going to have you're going to achieve the Vajra body in the future. And also the knowledge, right?
Dedication as well, and gaining all the qualities of a Buddha in general.
Okay. So the next one, Libyan, can you explain me what what will be the result of dedication?
To gain all the qualities of a Buddha in general.
Yeah. So he, he has said, all the quality of the Buddha in general. So let's say Buddha has a three quality of body, good quality of speech, and good quality of mind. So he has a 32, good quality of body. And he has another 80, kind of good indication of body, 32 and 80. And the quality of speech of Buddha, Buddhas. If we think about the history of Buddha Shakyamuni, there's two different kind of view about giving teaching. Historically, in Tibetan language, we have a kind of three different volumes of Prajaparamita. One is really huge, big volumes, which is not in here. So we believe it exists in the higher realms. Then there's another volume which has 16 volumes. Then there's another very kind of short kind of version. It has 84,000 verses. So even though the time when Buddha gave a teaching about Prajaparamita, he gave teaching just one time. He didn't give, today is for the long teaching, tomorrow kind of the medium teaching, the last is kind of short teaching. But he gave just one teaching at one time. Within the disciples, there's some disciples very intelligent, very advanced. They can understand the Prajaparamita within the short time, very short kind of, teaching. Within the disciples, some are not that enough intelligent, but still, quite good intelligent. But they hear kind of little longer teaching. Within the disciples, some are very ordinary, not really advanced, not really intelligent, not really high practitioner. They hear the teaching for a long time. That's why Buddha just keep one teaching just one time due to his own the speech quality. So different people has a different kind of receive different teaching. And another good quality, of course, all the Buddha has everything is good. But when he speak in like human language, in the India, I think he speak in Pali. He just speak in Pali. In the addenda, someone completely don't understand any Pali language. They come from different parts of the world, different parts of the universe. They use their own language. They have a different language. Even though Buddha keep teaching, on their language. For example, this time when we attend His Holiness teaching, we need a Chinese translator, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, Indian, Tibetan. At the Buddha time, the Buddha just give teaching in all languages. Okay, good quality. So I think this will finish one. The next, the 7 practice must be antidote of any of the negative thoughts, right? Okay, so the first one, can you explain the first one, antidote which negative thoughts within the 7 homage?
Homage against pride.
Pride, okay, pride, right? Pride. So when you give some respect to other, not politically, with the sensitive motivation, they always look other people higher than you. Then it reduce your pride. So the homage to Buddha or Dharma or Sangha, you always be antidote of pride. But for us, something is so difficult to reduce pride. Sometimes you can see, yes, educationally I am quite poor, but economically I am rich. Yes, educationally I am very poor, economically I am poor, but physically I am attractive, I am so nice. So some reason we have a kind of ego or pride. So homage always be antidote of pride. So pride also one of the very negative minds or mental factors. When you have very strong pride, you are not ready to respect, you are not ready to listen what other people says. Okay, so homage antidote of pride. So that's why I just mentioned whatever you practice, whatever you do practice, doesn't matter how long or how short, always try to be antidote of any of the negative thoughts and negative minds. Then your practice is the right practice. Even though when you give small pieces of biscuits to fish, to dog, to bird, try to be antidote of one of the negative thoughts, thoughts or negative minds or emotions. Homage. The second one, offering. Okay, can you explain? Offering can be antidote of what?
Against the miscellaneous.
Miscellaneous, right? Miscellaneous like a stingy. Also, I think everybody have to think this way. So most of us, maybe except you are quite young, most of us over 40 or 45. So almost 75% of our life has gone. Now we have only 25% life which is lived now. So within the 25% of percentage of our life, we whatever we have, we just start to give something, some portion for others, other activities, because we truly believe in the previous life. If you really believe in previous life, you always have to wish to be, rich in the next life. You always wish to be rich, wish to be nice, wish to have all the facility in the next life. If you truly believe in the next life, then everybody always prepare for next life. Okay, if I really wish to born a human being, or I really wish to born in the higher realm, so what I have to practice? I have to practice, Shila. I have to take the vows and have to be honest. Due to be honest, due to practice of your Shila, due to maintain your vows, so you're going to be born in a higher realm. If just born in a higher realm is not enough, you can see in this time in Africa, in India, all over the world, even in Singapore, they were born in human life. They are human beings, but they don't have any kind of the external condition, good condition. They are totally lacking of the external condition. No house, no food, no clothes, nothing. So just born in human life is not enough. So So we really wish to have all the facility in order to have a happy life. If you really you really have a strong wish to have all the facility, then you just give some your belonging portion for others. Then you accumulate good merit. The merit can be result in kind of the good comfort in the next life. The offering. And also you should think, when we were 30 years old, we don't want to spend our money or material. So we want to save for the future. When we are 40, we think of the future. When we are 50, we still think of the future. When we will be when we are 70 or 80 years old, we're still thinking, I want to save these things, this house, this money, this for my future. Even though when we were 80 or 90 years old, we still think, I want to save. I have to save this thing for my futures. Right? Even though it is 100% sure we are going to die tomorrow, but we still think, I want to save, I want to keep for the future. We never, give things for others because we want to save for the future. The future will never come. So that's why offering is, very important. So practicing offering, I think there's two types. One, you can offering the material things, food, clothes, incense, candles. Also, you can see today there's a piece of cloth. On the cloth, you can see there's a mala. Each morning when I set up all the offerings, first I offering the water and put water on the flower, the incense, the candle light. I finish everything, then I do the purification practice, purify the Buddha statue. That moment, I always recite some kind of verses. Most of you you don't know how to recite the verses, but you just pour the water. Think I'm pouring the water to the Buddha body, mind, and speech in order to purify all the negative karma, all the afflictive emotion, include the ignorance for all sentient beings. Just pour the water 3 times for all sentient beings. And the 4 and 5 and 6, another 3 times, I'm offering the water. I'm pouring the water to the Buddha body, speech, and mind in order to purify my negative karma. First. Second, I'm pouring the water to the Buddha bodies, Buddhas, all the Buddhas, Dharma, Sangha, bodies, speech, and mind in order to purify my negative afflictive emotions. Second. Third time, when you pour water again, or the thing, I'm pouring the water to the Buddhas, Dharma or Sangha, all the merit field, in order to purify my ignorance. First 3, 4, in order to purify negative karma, afflictive emotion, ignorance for all sentient beings. The last 3 time in order to purify your negative karma, your afflictive emotion, then ignorance. Finish offering water, then offering the clothes. And when you offer the clothes, you should think, now I'm offering the clothes to all the Buddhas, Dharma, Sangha, all the high beings, in order to have a practice, good practice of Shila. For example, when you wear the clothes cover your body. And people, when you dress beautiful clothes, people can see you are so nice, right? Clothes. So if you always be ethical, if you always practice Shila, so everybody can see you are so nice, you are so good person, you are so beautiful. So offering clothes is kind of symbol of offering clothes is kind of wishing to have good ethics. have a kind of practice of Shila. Then, the mala, we don't have a kind of expensive crown we can offer to all the Buddhas or the merit fields. But when I offer the mala, I just visualize, I offering the mala as a crown of the Buddhas. In the future, all sentient beings should achieve, the uni or unna. Uni, right? It's uni. Top of the Buddha head, uni or crown. So offering, you can offering anything. The most important one, another offering, so we say, so in the previous life, you practice Dharma. And in this life, also you practice Dharma. You practice compassion, you practice love, some you practice bodhicitta, some you practice impermanent. Although your practice, just imagine all your practice, manifest as are offering things. Manifest as are offering things. Actually, there's a compassion, love, kindness, kindness, tolerance, bodhicitta, and understanding emptiness. All of your practice manifests as a, object. Then you can offering your practice to all the merit fields. So offering is kind of antidote of miserliness or stingy. The third one, Kunji.
Confession of sins.
Yeah.
Against all three poisons.
Three poisons.
That is ignorance, attachment, and aversion.
Aversion or anger, hatred, right?
True.
So, how practice of compassion can be antidotes of ignorance, attachment, anger, how it can be? How? How it can be antidotes of ignorance?
Because when you confess, you realize you are wrong. So when you realize you are wrong, means you have the knowledge of what is right. So that's against ignorance.
Yes, you can say this way very nice. When you do practice of confession, you understand, you notice, I did the wrong thing. Then you realize the right one. You could say this way. Also, I mentioned few times, when you practice confessions, you need to understand three things. The object, the merit field, right? Which is you focus on the merit field. And the person, yourself, you must remember yourself. Kind of, the prostrator, the who do the prostration, the actor, the action, the prostration, action, the doing the prostration, and the actor yourself. Where you do prostration with the merit field. You need to remember three. Okay, yourself, all the merit field, or the confession field, and the action which you do the prostration. When you do this, you always remember three things. Me, yourself, the field, where you do the prostration, and the action. Till obvious, totally empty of, independent. That's when you remember the emptiness. There can be antidotes of the ignorance. Then attachment also same. When you do the prostration, you shouldn't have attachment yourself to the merit field, to the action. And also, someday you remember, I did the bad action due to ignorance, due to anger, due to attachment. Just try to remember the motivation. Then it can be antidote of, three poison. Look at, we said three poison. When you eat poison food, you always get a sick, right? You got sick, very serious. So the three poison is always with us. It doesn't matter, it's kind of, consciously or unconsciously, always with us. That means, since we born, we talk about only this life. Since we born, we always have our problems. We are not always, happy. We always feel, unhappy. Some problem here and there. Because, so we have a three poison. The three poison always with us. We can poison. So first, ignorance is the root. Due to ignorance, we have a wrong perception about everything, right? When you have an ignorance about an object, you can see the object, you can think the object is totally beautiful, totally nice, so nice. When you have a, ignorance about human being, you can see the human being is so nice, so attractive. Then you have an attachment. When you have attachment, then very easy to have a angry. So there's the order: ignorance, attachment, and anger or hatred. So prostration, there's a three types: like physical, prostration of body, speech, and mind. Within the three, prostration of mind is very important. So based on kind of faith, based on some belief system, when you just do like hand like this, also is prostration. You don't have to do full prostration, just do like this, just give respect, also including the prostration of body. Speech, when you have a kind of really sense of admire to high being, a high practitioner, then even though you just talk about good things about him or her, it also include prostration of speech. Mind is very important. Sometimes you can say people give you respect. People say so many good things about you. In the mind, you don't know. They really think you are good. They really admire you. We really never know. Within the three prostration, the mind is so important. Always whenever you do prostration, check your motivation. So, motivation. So prostration. The next one, confession. The next one. So don't forget, when you do kind of prostration, the four powers is very important. The four powers. The next one, Kunjit. Living.
Rejoicing will be against jealousy.
Against the
Jealousy.
jealousy, yeah, rejoicing. Yeah, you are right. So, so even though you really don't know why the people are doing this and that, so you don't have to know why they are doing, why they do, this and that. Just whenever you see someone doing like good things, good deeds, you don't have to know the motivation why they're doing. Just appreciate, just rejoice their good actions. Rejoicing is become kind of antidote of jealous. And also more important, there's two types of rejoicing: rejoicing on your own merit or rejoicing on other merit, other good actions. When you rejoice yourself, there are two types: rejoicing about your this life, good karma or good action, rejoicing about your next, previous life. So if you have a sense of rejoicing your own merit, or every time it increase your merit or your good action, increase again and again. So that's why Tsongkhapa said, if you really want to accumulate a lot of good karma without having difficulties, just rejoice other merit, other person merit, rejoicing your own merit, rejoicing. The next one. Okay, can you see after the rejoicing? What are the next one?
The request to turn the wheel of Dharma. Next, again, discarding the Dharma.
Yeah. So okay. So now, can you explain what does mean?
So requesting, turning the Buddha to turn the wheel of Dharma means to give the teachings.
Mhm.
So that acts against you discarding the Dharma. I mean, you give up or you refuse, throw away the Dharma.
Yeah. So and even though we just forget about the previous life, within this life, when we were very young, sometimes we criticize about Dharma. We say, oh, Dharma is no good, we don't need Dharma, so and so. And after you interested in the Dharma, then you can discriminate, okay, the Theravada is good, Mahayana is no good. Sometimes Mahayana is good, Theravada is no good. Sometimes the Chinese Dharma is Buddhism is good, other Buddhism is no good. We accumulate a lot of negative karma, just criticizing or discriminating Dharma. If you requesting to your master to turn wheel of Dharma, it can be antidote, against or antidote of this kind of actions, right? So now your turn. Petition.
Petition not to enter Nirvana against inadvertently disparaging the Guru.
Disparage the Guru, yeah. So this is related to the Guru. So now, okay, everybody just really need to know. So why we have to request to the Guru or beings not take into Nirvana? Why we have to request them throne wheel of Dharma? Why we have to request them give a teaching? Why? Because you are not just studying Dharma. You are not like very serious practitioner. Now you really realize, yes, Dharma is the only one. It can be, Dharma is the only one, which can help me moment of the death. Dharma is the only one which I can carry in the next life. Dharma is the only one how I can overcome from samsara. Dharma is the only one how I can achieve nirvana. So you can see you have a fully kind of conviction about Dharma. You are very serious about practicing Dharma. You really want to practice Dharma. You really want to go through the path and until enlightenment. So in order to practice Dharma, then Guru is very important. Then you say, please, Guru or Master, please not, go not pass away. Please remain with us as much as you can until I achieve Nirvana. Then you always request not taking to Parinirvana. Then it's not just enough that Guru or Master remains with you. You really want to listen teaching. You really need to you need lot of advice, lot of guidance from the Guru. So then you requesting throne wheel of Dharma. He give teaching. Okay, then we almost finish. Then there's a lot of extra information. It's not much relevant. So what is the sixth number of the preparation? The sixth. The sixth, right? We have a six preparatories. What is the number 6? Number 6.
Further petition which follow the oral instructions made in order to be sure your mind stream is sufficiently imbued by your meditations.
Yeah.
But I don't understand what does it mean.
Yeah, when I read in English also it looks so difficult.
Did we check ourselves to be ready to learn the Dharma?
Look at now you are in the process of practice, okay? You have a really good visualization of the merit field, and you have been practicing the 7 names. Now, you are very much, very much depends on like gurus. It's time to rely on guru or masters. That's why the 6 is, when I read in English, it looks so confusion, lot of confusion, look so difficult. I will explain very simple way. So what is the page number?
201.
201.
The very bottom part.
Yeah, 201. Yeah. Petition which follow the oral instruction made in order to be sure your mind stream is sufficiently imbued by your meditation. Because, he translated from Tibetan to English. So the sentence becomes very long. It says 3 parts. Petition, one part, petition. Second is the oral instruction. Third one, be sure your mind stream is sufficiently imbued by your meditation. This means, just you imagine, you just visualize the merit field in front of you. So you are corner of the trees of the the merit field. So now you really have to generous. Faith towards Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. Faith. Faith. In order to develop generous, pure faith, then you have to rely on, petitions. What does mean the petition in English? The meaning of petition? You kind of request, request or saying something, right? Petition, saying something. For example, when you get sick, you have to go to see a doctor. That moment you request to the doctor, give a medicine, give advice. This is kind of petition. So when after you finish visualization of the merit field, it is not just enough to say Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sangha. It's not just enough to say in words. You look like you are saying, the saying you just have to say with the, from your deep of heart. Very, with a very pure. It look like, someone in very critical condition in hospital. So you are requesting the doctor, give some advice, give some medicine, give some, things. That moment you are not just saying, right? You're not saying, you are saying from deep of your heart. Deep of your heart. That's why, be sure your mind stream is sufficiently imbued. It's kind of mixed. You are saying and your thinking is totally mixed. Somebody is saying different way, thinking in a different way. Right? It's a true. So when you say Namo Guru Dev, Namo Buddha, Namo Dharma, you have to say, purely deep of your heart. This means you are saying also you are thinking this way. You are thinking this way, also you are saying this way. There's no kind of dualities. Look at, I have already said that the best methods for developing realization is once one thing is true, petition on the Guru. Right? So while regarding him as inseparable from one's tutelary duty. So when you say Namo Guru Be, Namo Bidaya, then you have to think. You have to think the Guru, your root Guru is kind of, whatever, Yamendaka or Kalachakra or Guha Samaja. Guru is the deities. The deity is a Guru. The Guru is the Buddha. The Buddha is Guru. Guru is Sangha. Sangha is Guru. You have to look everything. Your Guru is everything. It's totally mixed with your mind stream. Because we try to cultivate great compassion, bodhicitta. We always try to develop good kind of practice, but we never have a good result. One, because we don't have a really pure faith towards Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. We just saying by words. We are not really the words mixed with your mind stream. So I give you example. When you are in very critical condition, that moment when you request to doctor, you are requesting from your heart, right? You are not just saying. Little clear the meaning. Oral instruction. That's mean So what the master says, how to take refuge to Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, how to do the petition. Just do according to your what your teacher says. Then there's a kind of long praying about petition. The first one in generally petition for Buddha. The second sentences about the lineage, extensive and profound lineage. The next one about the all the lineage. Lineage is very important, but for you not that important. Now we just little bit talk about that resolution. Page number 209. Okay, 209. We have to jump, and those are not that important. So what is your achievement? What is what is the purpose of visualization? Your visualization, because you are visualizing all the merit. What is your purpose? Purpose for practicing Lamrim. So after you visualize all the merit field and have a cultivate or generous, very strong or pure faith towards the merit field, then you meditate on paths or Lamrim. So there's two different ways, within your visualization. Then you just practice the Lamrim from renunciation to all the way to Buddhahood. It looks like you are just sitting in the meditation posture. You visualize in the merit field in front of you. Then you just remember the sequence of practice. Okay, sequence of practice. What I have to practice. Second what, third what. Here, The first one, you have to generous, pure faith towards your root gurus. First important one. The second, then you need to remember, the precious human life which is you have. Because in order to have this kind of human life, you need to accumulate a lot of merit. You have to practice Shila for many years. So you just remember, I have a very important, human life. It's important, but very so difficult to achieve, so easy to lose. That means just practicing impermanence. Okay? First, to your guru. Second, and cultivate or generous understanding of impermanent. Then you should think, yes, I am very fortunate, I am a human being, and this time I can understand which is good, which is bad. The good I must, abandon. The good, so the bad I must abandon. The good I always, maintain, cultivate. So you have to generate this kind of minds, always, day or nights. Day or nights. So then you generate, then you can practice impermanence. That special, particularly you must remember, one day I have to leave this world. I have to live in the Singapore. I have to go somewhere. When I go somewhere from Singapore, and when I leave this world, this body, and only one thing, two things I can carry. A negative karma and positive karma, that's it. If you really think, when I'm dying, I can carry only two things, positive karma and negative karma. The positive karma will give me, suffering. The negative karma will give me, happiness. I don't want suffering in this life. I don't want suffering in next life. In order to avoid suffering, first you must avoid the negative action. In order to avoid negative action, you must avoid, stop the negative thoughts. Just try to have only positive thoughts and positive action. Okay? First, develop pure kind of thoughts, guru, then always, consider I'm very fortunate, I have a very special human life, I don't want to waste. Then develop, understanding of impermanence. Then try to remember the death. Moment of the death, I can carry only two things, positive karma and negative karma. So I should avoid the negative karma, should develop the positive karma in order to have a happiness of next life. Then also you should think, yes, even though in the next life, if I will born the higher realm, like a human, like king, very famous person, even though, I will in samsara, I will have some problems. Then finally you have to think, you need to think, so far I am in samsara, I always have a suffering. So far I am in samsara, I will always going to conform with the suffering. But finally you need to think there's not really, there's not really happy in samsara. Everything is, nature of some suffering. Then gradually you're going to develop renunciation. Okay, renunciation. After impermanence, then renunciation. Then that moment you need to think two ways, the full sea, right? Full sea of the samsara and the advantage of the nirvana, right? The thing is, nirvana is peace, samsara is kind of suffering. If you think yes, nirvana is really good, I want to achieve. You know, suffering is kind of nirvana. In a samsara is always suffering. I must abandon. Then you know you are developing kind of renunciation. Then, so now you understand. Yes, in samsara there are so many suffering, so many problems. I must avoid the suffering and the cause of suffering. I must achieve nirvana. In order to achieve nirvana, I must try to achieve the cause of nirvana. In order to achieve nirvana, you have to practice the three training: shila, concentration, and wisdom. Okay, renunciation, then in practice of three higher training, not just training, three higher training. Then look at now, in order to practice shila, so you have to take any kind of vows. The vows of layperson, vows of the novice, vows of the full audience, whatever, and vows of bodhisattvas, vows of tantrayana. So you have to take the vows, maintain the vows forever, until you die. The individual, they say individual vows, the layperson vows, the neville vows, or the full ordination vows. Only you can take only one life. You cannot take few lives. The bodhisattva vows, the tantra vows, you can take few lives time, not only this life and next life, next life. Okay, so we don't have time, so I will explain the rest of the the order of the Lamrim. So because in this text mentioned, look at here, look at here. Traditionally, one further verses, and they say Geshe Rinpoche, basis of all good qualities, page number 209, right? Just before the dissolution, right? 1209. Then if you are not going to perform a separate review meditation on the Lamrim, you should recite the basis of all good qualities. There's a text. So I'm just going through this text because we don't have any English. Okay, so we just stop here. So next time when you come the Lamrim class, so please remember the order what I just taught you. Then